if you are an NRI, how are you taxed on your mutual fund gains? And what is this new income tax decision that has come for NRIs based in Singapore and UAE and Mauritius? So, first, let me explain in the normal case what happens. So, for most countries, if you are a resident in those countries, like the US, the mutual fund gains are very much taxed in India at the prevailing capital gains tax rates. So 20% short-term capital gains tax in case of equity funds and 12.5% long-term capital gains tax. And this amount is taken out as TDS by, in some cases, the mutual fund company or your broker or whoever is responsible for deducting TDS will deduct the TDS. And this is governed by the double taxation avoidance treaty between that country and India. So in most cases, India taxes the mutual fund gains. Now there's a special situation for Singapore, UAE, Mauritius, where India has given the right to those countries to tax mutual fund gains. And because those countries do not have a capital gains tax, those NRIs end up paying no tax, zero tax on their mutual fund gains, short term or long term, debt or equity. So this position of law was there for a long time, but it got tested, it got litigated recently, and there was a judgment of the Income Tax Appellate Tribunal in Mumbai on 26 March, AS Shah versus ITO, which indeed confirmed this position that there is no tax on the mutual fund gains of NRIs in countries like these. This is not the full list, there are a few more countries, but these are the big countries where the NRIs get exemption on mutual fund taxation. And this is under a residual clause. So because mutual funds are not shares, they enjoy this exemption. Shares are very much taxed by India, even if you reside in these countries. So even if you're doing, let's say, a PMS, portfolio management service, which directly invests in shares, you will be taxed in India. Of course, you may be taxed in the other country as well, and there are provisions about getting credit on taxes deducted by India, or there's a tiebreaker test. But without going into those details, from India's side, there is very much taxation in the generic case, in case of countries other than these, and for these countries also if it's shares. But mutual funds in these countries is by a quirk of law and treaty, not taxed. Now, what happens if you've made those investments while you were a resident? So, let's say you did an SIP in a mutual fund and you managed to accumulate 5 crores. Then you moved to Dubai, settled in Dubai, became an NRI, and you sold that money. And let's say that out of that 5 crores, 2 crores is your capital, 3 crores is the gain. Now that entire amount becomes exempt. Whereas if you had filed those taxes while you were in India, if you had sold those funds in India, you would have had to pay long-term capital gains tax. So, so this becomes a kind of strategy for people that you spend your life accumulating funds, you don't redeem them, and then in the last year before retiring or before your goal, you just move abroad and you sell them and you enjoy the exemption. Now, there is a risk with this. If it is transparent that you're doing this only for tax purposes, the income tax department can very much deny you that exemption, but it's a little bit hard to prove. If you have got a job in Dubai or there is some strong reason for you to be there, it's a little bit difficult for them to prove that you've done it only for tax reasons. Some people say that what if the investment is from the NRO account, not from the NRE account, you will not enjoy the benefit. We have talked to CAs, there's no such condition. Whether you make the investment from the NRO account or the NRE account, the same provisions apply. You will get the benefit of the DTA that India has with Singapore, UAE, Mauritius, etc. So should you do this strategy? Is this a viable strategy? I think the answer is no, apart from the risk of litigation, because remember, this is an IT-80 decision. So the tribunal can be appealed to the High Court. The department will probably appeal it to the High Court, and then it can go to the Supreme Court. So we don't know what the HC and the SC will finally decide. That's one factor to consider. The second factor to consider is even if the decisions are in the favor of the assessee, What if in your particular case the department says no, you've moved abroad only to enjoy the tax benefit, and then you have to face another round of litigation yourself? So that's the second risk. Third risk is, because this is now in the public limelight, India might amend the DTA with these countries and close this loophole. So this may not make the strategy very viable, but yes, those who have moved abroad to these countries have indeed taken the benefit of this loophole.